Hi, this is George with NS345. Welcome back to my Pro Tools mixing video series number 2. This is part 2. Today I'm going to set the static mix. Basically, I'm just going to work out the levels on the mix with the volume faders. I'm going to make sure I'm in post fader mode. And I'm not going to use any plugins for this. All I'm looking to do is to set my levels to where I would like the song to be at the end. So I'm just starting with the end in mind. I'm going to go through my entire session, and I'm just going to try and make it and sound as good as I can. I'm going to listen to the song. I'm going to see where parts fit, where they don't fit, and just kind of have a good listen. Before I do that, I'm going to set some markers so that we know what the verse is, what the chorus is, what the bridge is, and all that. And we'll set some additional markers. One thing to note, today I am using Pro Tools 12.2. I updated it this week. With Pro Tools 12.2, we got the additional metering options, what you can see here. And you can see it for every track. We've got Pro Tools Classic, Linear, RMS, VU, Digital VU, some PPM options, the K scale, RMS, Venue, and then we also have the gain reduction meter types, which I really like. I don't care too much for the VCAs. Pro Tools 12.2 has now added the VCAs. But since I use stems, I prefer using my stems because I can actually process my stems. Okay, so before we go ahead and get started, let's listen to the song and let's create some markers to make sure that we understand, so that we can have a structure of the song and we understand it a little bit better. The more you understand the song, the easier it's going to be for you to navigate and to make decisions on the entire mix. Okay, so this is the intro. I use my shortcut F7 to get my cursor right before the start of track number 20, which is the electric guitar. This is the very first part of the song, so I'm going to call this the intro. I'm going to hit enter on my numeric keypad. This comes up and I'm just making markers. I don't care about the general properties at this point. These are just going to be markers. So I'm going to call this intro. And I'm actually going to type in the same number, number 1. Just I'll explain to you in a little bit. Okay, now I have the marker here. You can see it. To bring up the marker window, I use Command 5, and I'm using the numeric keypad. So if you're using a laptop, this may be different for you. Command 5, and you can just tuck it away here on the side. I have a 27-inch screen, so it's easier for me to put stuff over here. It may not be as easy for you. I also have a second monitor, but I want to make sure you can see everything that I'm doing. I'm just going to leave this here for now. You were so close. I'm going to call that verse 1. You were so close. You were so close. You were so close. Enter. I'm going to say 2. Verse 1. You were so close. If you notice, the new memory marker has been added here.
You were so close, I could breathe you in. And it's here, take us back to the start. Take us back to the start. Back to the start. Back to the start. Back to the start. Just so you know. Back to the start. Take back to the start. Back to the start. Back to the start. Just so you know.
This is, I'm going to call this verse 1B. It sounds the same. It's not a different verse, just different lyric.
Just so you know, it was you all along. Got your stupid smile like a photograph. Just so you know. Prints on my brain, like a photograph. And
I'm going to call this the chorus. So I'm going to say 4, chorus 1.
oh, in 5 years time.
I'm going to call this 5, verse 2.
Oh, and live in your room. Let me.
So it does verse 2 and then it goes to chorus 2. So there's a small instrumental part right here. Doesn't even feel like a bridge, it feels like an instrumental. Okay, let's call it the bridge. It's not a bridge, but I'm gonna call this the outro, or the end, or coda. Let's just call it outro. Okay, so if you notice, now we have all of our markers on the one of the rulers here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let me fix my rulers. I don't want the tempo ruler, so I'm just gonna hold Option, click. Then I don't want the meter ruler. There's no meter changes. Option, click. I'm only gonna leave, I don't need the samples. Option, click. I only want the bars and the minutes and seconds. Bars and beats, minutes and seconds. And I'm just gonna put the bars and beats there. Okay, if you notice here, the markers are just blended in with the gray color of the ruler. So what I'm gonna do is I like to have colors on my marker so I can see separation on the different stanzas. So I'm gonna go to setup and I'm gonna go to preferences, and then I'm gonna go to where are they? Memory locations, mixing, somewhere here. Processing. Display. Basics, the organized tracks category. Okay, always. Okay, so color coding. It was, if it was a snake, it would have bitten. It would have bit me. So click on here, select that, and this is always display marker colors. Again, this is under the setup, preferences menu, the very first tab, display. Now I'm using Pro Tools 12.2, so it may be different for your version of Pro Tools. But now you can see that the color was added to the markers. Okay, so the way we're gonna manage markers in this mix, we're gonna use Command 5. That's gonna bring up the window. And here you can click on the marker where you want the song to start. If you notice the cursor, or look at this blue arrow here, the play hit, whatever that may be called, it moves as I click on the marker location here within the memory location window. There's another way to do it. So you can tuck this away here somewhere. It'll likely be in the way at some point because you're gonna run out of real estate. But I just make it narrower and just maybe put it here. Okay. Now, if you notice, I put a number right between the name of the marker, and that's so that I can use a shortcut to get there faster rather than using my mouse to click here. I can go, and the shortcut for this is, if you have a numeric keypad, you can go period, 1, period, and it takes you to that, or period, 2, period, period, 3, period, or let me call it dot, it's faster, dot, 4, dot, dot, 5, dot. If you notice the play hit is moving, dot, 6, dot, dot. So let me start here.
Could breathe you in. Yeah, you call it.
Want to go to the bridge, dot, 7, dot. Want to go to the outro, dot, 8, dot. Go back to verse 1, dot, 1, dot. Sorry, dot, 2, dot.
You were so
Verse 3, dot, 3, dot. So the number that I wrote on the title, so if you go to the intro, the 1 there, that helps me to identify it without having to actually glance over at the memory location window. Okay, so let's move on and let's start doing our static mix.